Hello everyone, welcome to Edit App and welcome to today's session. So as you must have seen in the thumbnail itself that today we are going to discuss about the overlapping that is present in the SEBI and the NPS examination. So if you have ever prepared for SEBI, if you have targeted SEBI or if you are currently targeting SEBI, so NPS Grade A or Grade B is very good opportunity for all of you. Okay, so today we will discuss that how much the syllabus is overlapping in the SEBI and NPS, how much the pattern is overlapping between the SEBI and the NPS. But before moving forward, you can see the banner just here that you are getting a free course where you are getting the free demo lectures, you are getting the free material, the free notes which you can utilize for your preparation. So if you want to download the free material, you can click in the link in the description box below. So the link is present in the description box below that you can check out, that you can see to get the free course, to see the free course. Okay, so now let's continue. Let's see the overlapping that is present in the pattern of SEBI and NPS. If we talk about the phase 1, in the SEBI, in phase 1, you have the like the paper 1 that is consisting of general awareness, including some questions related to financial sector. Even in NPS also it is mentioned that general awareness including the questions related to financial sector. So in the NPS as well as in SEBI, in both, in the phase 1 there will be general awareness like focusing on the financial sector. Now in the SEBI there is quant, reasoning, English in the phase 1, as well as in NPS also in phase 1 there is quant, reasoning and English. So if you have prepared for SEBI, you must have some knowledge of quant or reasoning or English. You must have prepared for any, like for these components, so that will help you in the phase 1 of the NPS also. Now coming to the component, like in phase 1 in SEBI there is paper 2 that consists of your subjects like commerce, accountancy, management, finance, costing, companies act and economics. So in the NPS also, in the phase 1 itself, there is the component that consists of the subjects. Okay, some additional subjects also, but these subjects, the knowledge of these subjects, so if you have ever prepared for SEBI, the knowledge of these subjects will help you a lot in the phase 1 as well as in phase 2 also. In SEBI as well as in NPS, in both these components there is the same subjects like in your paper 2 in the SEBI or in this component of the NPS. Okay, so there is in the SEBI you have commerce, accountancy, management, finance, costing, companies act, economics in the paper 2 in the phase 2. In the NPS in the phase 2 in paper 2 there are the same subjects, just costing is not there. Like in NPS costing is not asked like SEBI, and in NPS there are also some additional subjects, but your knowledge of commerce, accountancy, economics, finance management, the knowledge of the companies act will help you a lot in the NPS. Okay, as well as not only the paper 2 but in the paper 1 in the phase 2, you can see that if you have prepared for SEBI or if you have ever targeted SEBI, so in the paper 1 in SEBI there is English descriptive test that happens, that test your drafting skills. That means you have some knowledge of the descriptive answer writing, okay, or you have practiced the descriptive answer writing. So that is going to help you a lot in the paper 1 of the phase 2 of NPS also, because in here also there is English descriptive test, but there is something additional, that is general studies, that you have to do in the additional manner. Okay, but you can understand that SEBI and NPS, we can say that there is a lot of overlapping that is present in the SEBI and the NPS. So now let's see that how much the syllabus is overlapping. We have said that commerce and accountancy is in your SEBI, it is also asked in NPS, there is economics that is in both, but how much the syllabus is overlapping. So let's see that. I hope you are clear about the pattern. Now coming to the syllabus. So commerce and accountancy, this is the syllabus in SEBI and this is the syllabus for management in SEBI. The same syllabus, like word to word same syllabus has been given in the NPS notification for the 2025 also. So you can understand that for commerce and accountancy there are these heads that are given, that is same as your SEBI syllabus. Okay, so in the SEBI this is the syllabus for your commerce and accountancy and management for the SEBI Grade A. Similarly in your NPS for Grade A or Grade B, whichever level you are preparing for, this is the syllabus that is same to same. Okay, buyback of securities and such. all of this, the commerce and accountancy syllabus is same. So if you have prepared for SEBI, it is going to help you a lot for your NPS, or with the preparation of your NPS, your target for the SEBI will also be covered. Okay. Now coming to management. So if you have prepared for management for the SEBI, if you are targeting SEBI, so you must be preparing for management, or you must have prepared for management. So that is going to help you in your NPS also, because the management syllabus is also the same. Similarly, if you are targeting SEBI and you are studying finance, so the same knowledge or the same topics are there in the NPS also. So this knowledge of your finance topics will help you in NPS. Similarly, for economics, if you are preparing for SEBI, if you are thinking of giving SEBI, or you have started preparing for SEBI and you started preparing for economics, so your same knowledge will help you in NPS also, because again the concepts or the topics are absolutely same. Now, what is different between SEBI and NPS? So now let's understand the difference. So till now we have seen that if you want to prepare for SEBI, or if you have prepared for SEBI, so your there is huge overlap that is present between SEBI and NPS. So your preparation for SEBI will not go to waste in NPS, or your preparation in NPS will help you further in the SEBI also, like when the SEBI notification comes out. Okay, here you can see that Companies Act. See, Companies Act is mentioned in your SEBI. So Companies Act is mentioned in your SEBI, but in SEBI only this much has been mentioned. The Indian Trust Act, this is something different in the NPS. So in NPS, the Indian Trust Act is additional. So for the SEBI, you must be studying, or you must have studied the Companies Act. Now for the NPS, just you have to add your knowledge of Indian Trust Act. Okay, so in NPS there is the Indian Trust Act that is additional, that is not present in your SEBI pattern or syllabus. Okay, so for the SEBI you must be preparing for the Companies Act. So in that knowledge you have to add the Indian Trust Act knowledge for your NPS examination. So this is different. In NPS you have Indian Trust Act, in SEBI you don't have this. Okay, coming to the NPS. So NPS has some additional components like data analytics, statistics, pension sector of India and world. So this component you have to do additionally, okay, for the NPS. So if you have prepared for SEBI, or if you are preparing for SEBI, so you might not have like prepared for, or you might not have ever studied for data analytics, statistics or pension sector. But if you want to give the NPS examination, so this additional knowledge you need to gain, and with this additional knowledge you will be able to cover the syllabus of the NPS. Okay, so this is the idea that 80%, or we can say that majority of the syllabus of SEBI and NPS is overlapping. The pattern is quite overlapping in SEBI and NPS. The difference comes in the additional subjects like the Indian Trust Act in the NPS, there is data analytics, statistics, pension sector, that is additional in the NPS, and the general studies is also additional in the NPS. So these components you have to put some extra efforts, because these must be new components for you that will not help you in SEBI, but that will help you in NPS here. Okay, as well as in SEBI you might have prepared for quant, reasoning, English, but you were focused on the overall cutoff. But in the NPS you also have to clear the sectional cutoff. So remember this, that in the SEBI, in the phase 1, in the SEBI, in the phase 1, quant, reasoning, English, GA, here you have to focus on the aggregate cutoff. You only have to clear the aggregate cutoff that is already provided by SEBI, that is 30%. But when it comes to the NPS, there is the sectional cutoff that is also mentioned for the phase 1 subjects. For the phase 1, for the components, for the sections, there is also sectional cutoff. Okay, so in SEBI, in the phase 1, in paper 1, there is no sectional cutoff, there is only the aggregate cutoff for paper 1, and for paper 2 also. For paper 2 also there is no sectional cutoff, there is only the aggregate cutoff for paper 1 and paper 2. For paper 1 it is 30%, that is already mentioned. For paper 2 it is 40%, that is already mentioned. The overall aggregate cutoff is 40%. But in NPS the aggregate cutoff, the sectional cutoff is not mentioned at all, as well as you have to clear the sectional cutoff and the aggregate cutoff. So that is another difference between SEBI and NPS. So in SEBI, there is only the overall cutoff for paper 1 and there is overall cutoff for paper 2 in phase 1. But in NPS, you have to clear sectional cutoff as well as the aggregate cutoff also. So you have to focus more on quant, reasoning, English, GA to clear the phase 1, okay. So this is also something different. So you might be preparing quant, reasoning, English and GA for SEBI, but you have to focus more now for the NPS, okay. So this is the idea. So this is it. Now costing is different in SEBI. So if you are preparing for SEBI, so you might be preparing for costing, but this is not costing is not part of your NPS syllabus, okay. So costing is different as it is required in SEBI, but it is not required in NPS. So now before ending the session, let me show you. If you go to edutab.in, if you go to edutab's website, that is edutab.in, you can go to the courses section, and in the courses you can see the courses of NPS Grade A and Grade B. You can see the complete course phase 1 and phase 2, which you are getting at a very huge discount. So you are getting the course at a very huge discount, and here you can see what all you will be getting and who all will be teaching, as well as if you want to get the phase 2 course only, so that also you can get at a hefty discount. You can get the phase 2 course also at a hefty discount. So this is also available, okay. So you can see that what all will be provided to you, what discount you are getting. So all of this you can see. So go to the website, that is edutab.in, and you can see the courses provided for the NPS, okay. So this is the idea. So I hope you have understood that there is a huge overlap between the NPS and SEBI, but there are some distinction between the SEBI and NPS also. Like in phase 1 in SEBI, there is no sectional cutoff, there is only overall cutoff of paper 1 and paper 2, but in NPS there is sectional cutoff, that is quant, reasoning, English, GA. For that there is cutoff, sectional cutoff, separate cutoff, and there is also the aggregate cutoff also. So you have to focus on all these components separately. Now in phase 2 we have seen that commerce accounts and your economics and all these are overlapping, syllabus is overlapping, but in NPS there is something additional, that is Indian Trust Act as well as data analytics, statistics and pension sector. So these are some of the distinction also. So if you are preparing for SEBI, or if you have prepared for SEBI, yes, you do have an advantage because you already are aware about commerce and accountancy, and you already have prepared for economics, finance and management and such subjects. But you also have to put some additional efforts in data analytics, statistics, like you have to cover that also, Indian Trust Act, and you have to cover the pension sector also, okay. So that is the part that you have to cover separately additionally for the NPS, okay. And do not forget that there is sectional cutoff in quant, reasoning, GA and such, and there is overall cutoff also, okay. So this is the complete idea. I hope you have understood that there is a huge overlap between the NPS and SEBI, but there are some additional areas also that you should not be forgetting about, okay. But first, there are some strengths that you have, focus on your strength also, make that strength very strong for you, and then focus on your weakness and cover those weakness also, okay. So this is the idea. Thank you everyone, thank you for joining.